No one cares about me. And don't say you fucking do either.
There's so much I want to say, but I don't know where to start. Maybe when I learn to breathe.
Like, open the door. I want to hang out with you.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Solving Your Problem. Today we're going to watch a YouTube channel called Jonathan Ward. And the title of the video has been changed and altered recently. It used to be called I Will Most Likely End Alone. And it got changed to loneliness. And it has to do, of course, with, well, whatever is attached to it and how YouTube deals with it. It's the, deleting word, right? So let's get into this.
So it's not hard to say that I will probably die alone. And you're like, no, you won't. You probably clicked on this video and like, you won't die alone. And it's pretty hard to tell. Modern standards of it's just like like the dating scene. Like you gotta, Tinder, Tinder. There's that beehive thingy. All those dating apps. Like whole hookup culture is just designed to be really difficult to find anyone. And I just feel like the likelihood of a fat guy, me, maybe I could lose weight. That's that's on me. That's probably what I should do. But likelihood of like someone like me find love is gonna be rare. Like like unless I spend more time trying to like figure it out, I'll probably die alone.
Okay, let's just start looking at it from a more rational perspective and not from a doomerist perspective. I can completely understand where he's coming from. I can understand why he's making those obvious statements because that's his perspective. That is his way of coping, actually. Like it's a defeatist mentality, an unhealthy mentality. But there is reason to it. There is a reason why he's thinking the way he's thinking. He's perceiving this reality as it is. He's perceiving women as they are, or how they present themselves, at least on dating apps. Now, everybody knows the familiar dating apps like Bumble, Hinge, OkCupid, POF, and Tinder. There are many more, but most of them in general, the ones that are predominantly consumed, these are actually the worst ones to find love. And we shouldn't even talk about finding love. It's about finding a match for whatever you want to do, whatever your intentions are. I personally don't believe that any of those commercialized dating apps are created to help you find your second half, help you find a loving, caring partner, or matching you with someone appropriate. I don't believe that. It's not intended to do those things. Because if people would get successful matches and end up in a full-time committed relationship, those apps and those companies will not make any money. There will not be anything that they can see as a worthy investment. The point is to keep people on the app as long as possible and especially make them pay money for subscriptions because or memberships. That's the whole idea behind it. The longer you're on there, the more desperate you are, the more financially it's gonna help them in the long run. So they're actually living off your misery, your desperation, and your doomerist mindset. I personally came to understand through own experience, online and offline, in the past, not recently, but in the past, couple of years ago now, 3 to 5 years ago, that yeah, indeed, it can be really pulling you down. It can pull you down. It can pull on your confidence. It can strip you of your confidence. It can make you feel like crap. It doesn't help you with your mental health in general, in overall. And these things may push you in that direction of BP, like antinatalism, doomerism, a lot of heavy felt negative emotions and thoughts that will not help you in any way, shape, or form. It's There is a high percentage of American obesity that nobody can neglect. It's common knowledge, and understanding that obesity can be a problem in finding a right partner is already one step in the right direction. So you can say that having that little bit of insight and being self-cautious can help you achieve eventually what you want to achieve, not only for yourself but in a long-term partnership if you encounter the right person at the right time, in when you're in the right position of life. One of the core principles that you will hear from, for example, the RP community is that it's self-improvement is key. If you cannot accept and love yourself, if you do not know who you are and what you can offer, if you do not put yourself in a place of higher value by working towards it, then you're not ever going to achieve what you're dreaming of. But that makes complete sense because you haven't put in the time and the effort. First, it starts with acknowledging things, acknowledging your shortcomings, tweaking out whatever can be improved, and working towards a goal. Once you're at the top of your game, your personal game, you can start looking outside of your bubble. You can start looking at other people to connect with. It doesn't have to be with only the intention to end up in a romantic relationship. There are other things you can achieve as well. And it's good to go and experience instead of just focusing on one thing solemnly, is getting a girlfriend or being in a relationship. Because eventually, everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to be cared for, everybody finds that as the most important thing to experience in life. Something beyond family and friends, something that comes from intimacy with one partner. But you can only be able to fully receive that if you're at the top, at the peak of your own life and existence. And that comes with, struggle, hardship, heartbreak, pushing forward, not giving up, looking forward, never looking back, improving yourself day by day, step by step, working on your deficiencies or your shortcomings, all that stuff. It's an internal and external progress. But just expecting something magically to happen, if it doesn't happen, and just saying, okay, we go from white to black or black to white, metaphorically speaking, that's just the easy way out. That's not really understanding what is expected from you in a healthier way. It's understandable that you might go through it. It's a process. It's something that we do to cope, but it's not a healthy cope.
to be frank. And that being said, it's like, you know, what are you supposed to do about dying alone? If you feel like you're gonna die alone, you should like just go see people. You should go hang out with people. But even if I do, like, people don't want to like hang out with me. I'm the one going to their doorstep, and like, open the door. I want to hang out with you. And they're like, sure, but you know, I'm not gonna call you back. I'm not gonna invite you to things that I'm interested in. And it's like, oh, so that just leaves me the like big question of like, I'm like almost 19. The likelihood of me finding like I've never had a girlfriend. Likelihood of me finding one where I live is very rare. And maybe when I'm like old, but it's not. Let's just say it's caught a whole lot harder for like since like the internet has existed to get girlfriends or boyfriends for all that matters. And just to say this, most of the people who are watching this video are probably male. Because let's be real, no woman is gonna watch me. Because that's most women don't even use YouTube; they use Pinterest. It's kind of funny actually. Just see, or my siblings are playing video games right now. They don't use they don't use YouTube, or some do, but it's like 3.6969% of women. So it just makes you question, like, I'll probably die alone. And so it's like, well, where do we go from here? I could find a friend that I really like hanging out with, consistently go to their place for a long period of time, or I could just realize that I'll probably, like, I'm gonna be alone for a while, even if I do find a girl. It's gonna be a long time, and so that means I probably should just start figuring out ways to not feel so lonely. I mean, YouTube. That's what I mostly use for loneliness these days. Watching influencers have a parasitic relationship with them. Where I'm watching them and I know all about them, but they don't know about me. Makes me sad, but it's kind of the real.
So they're basically pointing out one of those problems that easily can be resolved is that there are actually two things I want to add to it is first and foremost, if you're 19 years old, it's only until you hit 25 that you're fully mentally developed. Also, emotionally, it takes longer for a man. Okay, it differs from person to person, but in general, comparing to women, men's emotional maturity comes later on in life and the mental maturity only starts when they're mid 20s. So you can't just come to a conclusion when you're in your teens, when you're stuck in your teens. That wouldn't make any sense to come to this type of dualistic conclusion. I personally think that's not a good start, you know. And the second point is that if you it's one of these advice that the RP community would give as well is look, if you compare yourself too much with other people like influencers or online personalities with a high following, a high amount of following, it's really not going to help you. It's going to make you feel worse, more like crap, because you can start obsessing with other person's life and wish or dream that you were that person and then envy them and become resentful and hateful. These things don't add to your happiness. They only make you feel worse at the end of the day. It's like drinking doesn't really help you solve the problem. It will make you feel worse at the end of the day. It's with all these things that we see as an easy way out. It's a cope, but it's an unhealthy cope. It's a cope that anybody can do and go to, but it's not going to help you in the long run. It's going to make things worse. And then you got to figure out what can I do with my time that I what like if you're looking at people that are successful and happy, etc., then that's not going to make you feel better. It's going to temporarily numb you or distract you and be more involved in their lives, mentally speaking, so you don't have to be living in your life and being mindful about it and living in the moment. Now, one of the strengths for every guy in the world is being rational minded, being strong, being independent, knowing what is essential, knowing what is expected. But the main thing you got to focus on the goal in your life. Set the goal in your life, set the bar, strive for it. That should be the main priority. Don't be distracted by all these other people that have nothing to do with your life and do not care about your life. What is the most important thing is that you know what matters in life to you. What type of life do you want to live? Should be a question. What can I do to achieve that type of life? Should be a question. What am I doing to get to that point in life? Should be a question. You should challenge yourself every day. Every guy in the world should challenge themselves every day if they want to see improvement.
Um, and it just, I don't know. Makes me feel a little depressed. This is where I probably get a journal. I'll probably just write down my thoughts, just hundreds of lines of thoughts. Because honestly, no one cares. Like, I was once like in a group where it was like, oh, like I asked them, like, oh, you guys know, or you girls know anyone who would be like, you would like think of someone that you would hook up with, and they're like, nah, John, we don't know. You're a little zany. You're off in your own field. You're off on your own tangent, fading constantly. I'm just like, damn, they're right. It just makes me sad. Anyway, this is day 4. Peace, love, and positivity. It wasn't a bad day. I got some stuff done. Cleaned up the yurt. I live in a yurt, by the way. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to also make money, but finding a job is painful when you don't have a car. So I'm trying to fix the car up, obviously, and yeah, I'll talk about more about that tomorrow for finances, because I think I need something for financially. Peace, love, and positivity. Goodbye.
That was basically the video, and it sums it up. Just a few minutes from the beginning on, you could immediately sense the whole vibe, and even watching it for the very first time right now with everybody here, it shows that he's not completely being transparent or open. He's just giving a little bit of a sensation and a feel of what's going on mentally. But you can tell that he's very mentally involved. He thinks about a lot of things in a negative way, and he lets those things determine his outlook if it comes to life. And that's where a lot of young men go astray. It's not only having a lack of a strong and healthy male role model, but it's also because everything what they experience seems to be rigged against them. It gives immediately a negative emotion, and then instead of actually trying to fix or resolve or continue and push onwards, it's just the shut in, the shutdown type of response. And that is what, of course, these organizations and these companies and all these people that feed off that type of negativity, they want that. That's what they want. That's their main goal. Sad to say, but it's the reality. Everybody in that way is responsible of their own well-being, meaning that is you decide if you want to be happy or unhappy. You decide if you want to have friends or you don't. You decide if you want to be an introvert or extrovert. If it comes to how you socialize in everyday life, not as in the personality sense. So these things combined, if it leans too much to the negative than the positive, will have an outcome that benefits all these organizations and will then make them money. And so it's a lot of guys like him taking the L instead of the W, while the W should be your main priority in life. So anybody that's watching, anybody that watched this, let me know what your thoughts are on the matter. Maybe you have something to add or something to say towards this guy over here, Jonathan Ward. And if you do, just let it just speak your mind in the comment section, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And hopefully, I'll be seeing you next time. And thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and take care.